I would like to introduce our next speaker, who is a global growth strategist who has led innovation, international market expansion, and high-impact partnerships with companies such as Facebook, LVMH, IBM, Qualcomm, AWS, Sephora, and Warner Brothers. Talk about a portfolio and talk about a treat for you guys. So her work focuses on scaling ecosystems and shaping commercialization strategies across global markets. So guys, think of some questions if you want to pick her brains. With her keynote, AI Gen Game Design, Can Machines Replace Human Creativity? I would like to welcome our speaker. So please join me as I give a warm welcome on stage to Denise Záles, Chief Executive Officer of Known. Please welcome Denise, and the stage is yours.
Thank you. Can you hear me? It's a pleasure to be here. I love this area. My allergies are kicking in, so if I sneeze, you can bless me later. We are discussing, this amazing topic that has to do when AI takes over all of our jobs, right? We all know that. I'm kidding. That's meant as a joke. But this is something that I think a lot of us are thinking, contemplating, and it's an active conversation in a lot of the different company discussions that we have. And so I think this is something that we want to explore a little bit further. And as a spoiler alert, AI is not going to take our jobs. It's just going to help us be more human, weirder, more creative, and more amazing. So let's start with the next slide. I think one of the biggest questions that we have, and why we're even having this discussion, is, we want to know, is AI, and what is AI going to do for us, and is it really going to impact every part of our life? And I think right now, one of the things that most of us know is that studios, gaming studios, technology companies, entertainment companies, which I work a lot with entertainment companies in Los Angeles and around the world, we're leveraging AI a lot. And that makes us question whether or not this is going to eventually replace a lot of the crucial roles in production, post-production, and then even distribution. And I think, when we think through some of these things of what AI can do, AI can spin off amazing worlds. I mean, most of us here have used this, right? It can spin off very quick characters. It can help us pretty much make our job easier. It's the intern that we all want and don't want to pay for, right? Or we want to pay just a subscription price for. So I think when we're going through this conversation, I'd love for us to explore exactly what AI powers are. And if anybody here has not used AI, there's no shame in that. You don't have to raise your hand. But I think, when we go through statistics of who actually is using AI, it's Gen Z, right? That's using a lot of AI. Millennials are using a lot of AI. And, the older generations, not so much. And, the question comes, and especially a lot of executives, they tend to be on the older side in these companies. It does scare them. It makes them feel like, at least I'll speak for myself, it makes them feel that, it's taking away the human element, or it's not creating necessarily the right way, or it could be compromising their information, or it could be, just opening a Pandora's box into something they're not quite used to. And I think that is the normal cycle when we encounter technologies that we're not accustomed to. I was looking at a study by Harvard that had to do with who typically is using and engaging these technologies. And that is a lot of Gen Z, and they use it as a co-pilot mechanism, right? Millennials are using it more so as, to automate different things that we don't necessarily want to do, like write scripts really fast, and then use that draft and use our own creativity to increase, that productivity. But I think one of the things that we can all agree here, and for the sake of time, I'm going to go through these a little bit quicker. We like to generate concepts, right? We like to create characters, environments. We can create worlds very, very quickly, especially in the gaming space, at least as a first draft. We can build dialogue. We can help with mechanics and fixing bugs. And then we can also help with, Gen AI gets existing data sets that are out there, and it builds content based on that. It can help us speed up our processes quite significantly. And this is something that's huge in the entertainment space as well as in the gaming space, because it's become quite challenging to keep up with the newest versions, right? Most of us here, we probably bought an iPhone last year, and now the iPhone is irrelevant this year, right? This comes with most technologies and most versions. It's moving so quickly that AI is really good at helping us at least create the draft that we later build on. We're going to take a quick poll. Who here, and you don't, please, if you want, raise your hand, has used some form of AI to create a draft, a picture, or automate something? Okay, you're probably way ahead of the curve with the general population. There's a lot of people in the older generations that won't. Who here uses it for drafts, just to do a draft or just to do research, like a glorified version of Google? Right? Who here has actually done it for coding? Right. So I think in a lot of aspects, this is something that I think we're all on the same page, that this is meant to be used as a foundation in that sense. So what is AI really, really strong in right now? And I think most of us, I'm speaking to the choir here, most of us already know that it's good at everything an intern would do. It's good at, replicating data or speeding things up faster, or, just doing the busy work that we don't want to do. What it's not good at is creating from scratch, right? That is something that I think, humans were better at. When we move on to game creation, I think one of the biggest things that in the conversations I've been in with the different studios is that it's good at creating all of the other side personalities, right? The NPCs. It's good at creating, at doing the busy work that is, just monotonous and takes a lot of time. And it will adjust. It'll build algorithms that adjust to the different players. That is something that we know that we can leverage AI quite well with. I own a production company in Asia, and I used to own a production company in Los Angeles. And, we have different varying conversations there. A lot of the B-roll, anybody here in film? Okay. And I think some of this applies to also conversations I've had at Microsoft, right? They'll hire cinematographers from the film industry to help with visuals and different angles, and to make it feel more real or to feel like a film. And a lot of the conversations there is that AI, there's two different camps. There's a camp that AI visuals are hurting the industry, right? They're not necessarily good for the talent. There's this like brothership, in the entertainment space, that you want to see other people win. You want to do business with people in your same circles. And then there's the other camp, which is AI is bringing costs down significantly. It's helping us create, things that we might not have imagined. It's suggesting things that are different. I know on the production side, we can significantly bring costs down. And this is the same in the gaming space. AI has helped us speed up a lot of those production cycles. So when we look at what humans still do well, right? I don't think you can, there's people, I have a friend here who dated she's a technologist, she does this as an experiment, but she did date 4 different AI boyfriends, right? And that was fun. I love hearing about her experiment. I love her feedback on that. She wasn't serious, guys. She was non-exclusive with all of them, but it was an experiment that helped understand, that AI still will do things within a certain confine, right? You give it instructions, you give it prompts, and it will build according to what you give it. Humans, we think outside the box. We push limits. We create the data sets that AI can expand on. And that's what we're still very good at. And every conversation, I just brought up film, and I know this applies also in the gaming space, and in other areas of creativity, we think, is AI going to eventually be able to outcreate us, to come up with new amazing ideas that us humans cannot think of? And that's not true. Because at the end of the day, when I hire a director to create B-roll or to create different scenes in the production companies that I work with, I still want a director that can give the right prompts to the AI algorithms, that can literally lead the machine to create something that I want, right? So I'm still the ultimate creator. And if the AI software that's being used has been given garbage prompts, literally garbage prompts are going to come out, right? You might have different creative like B-roll that comes out, or of a certain character, of an NPC or whatever. It's missing a hand. It has 6 fingers. You know, it's sitting weird. It's sitting in a way that's like a spider versus a human, right? These are things that we're seeing with AI. So even though it can make and it can mix amazing content and it can speed up processes, it's still very much a tool. And it's a tool in our hands. We're the ones that need to learn in a lot of ways how to create the right prompts that help it. So, you know, when we go through the next part of this, this is tackling a little bit of what I just said. We can create and we can use it as a co-pilot, right? We can create this as, use it as an extension of ourselves. Something that helps enhance our minds, enhance our possibilities, and speeds up process while cutting costs. So we're living in an exciting time. I think anybody who lives in a time or thinks that this may not be something that is favorable to humans doesn't understand how favorable other cycles have been, right? When like Google was first introduced, or when computers were first introduced. We went from typewriters to computers. Even though I may look young, I did use a typewriter in elementary for some of my papers, right? And then I remember computers being rolled out when I was in high school. And that was, I'm mixed race, by the way, so I you know, sometimes people think I'm younger than I am, but I'm not. So it's, you know, these are normal technologies. Or when we went to think about fintech or think about banking, you know, initially in the banking space, we actually would take our coins into the bank and we'd put them in. And then imagine when like checks were rolled out, right? And suddenly that was scary. A piece of paper was supposed to represent what was in the bank. And then the generation that suddenly went from your checks to debit cards, or from debit cards to credit cards or ACHs. And now we're doing, you know, direct-to-direct payments. We're doing Venmo. We're doing crypto. We're doing on and off ramps. You know, the evolution of a new technology will always be scary. And it does need regulations and it does need guardrails. But we humans create those as a consensus, right? We think through what and how we can use these tools. And that's what humans are still really good at. So when we think about a partnership model, AI and game design, if we partner with this technology and create the right flow, this is where we can leverage and we can advance our creativity. Now we have amazing tools that we have never used before. And initially, when we think about the creation cycle, we tend to use new tools the way that we used old tools, right? We want to just, you know, for example, when I first started using, I'm going to admit this, don't judge me, but when I first started using some of these platforms like Perplexity and ChatGPT, I would use it like Google. I would do like searches, you know, like Google. Hey, tell me this, tell me the reference, tell me that. And that's okay. That was my learning curve. I think it's a lot of our learning curves. And I think when we think through these AI tools, this is normal for us to use them the way we've used old tools, but then our creativity kicks in, and that's where the perfect partnership can happen. So a hybrid future, the most likely reality. We want, some of these points I already addressed, we want AI to accelerate our creation. We want it to magnify who we already are. We want humans to provide the humor, the sarcasm, pushing limits, breaking the rules. We want that. We want humans to continue being humans. We want our players to live in richer worlds, faster worlds, and, you know, we want AI to do all the heavy lifting. You know, honestly, if we can just focus on living our best life and creating through our experiences and have AI do the hard work, that's the perfect partnership. And, you know, we are in that very there is a debate between creativity and convenience, but I don't really think there is a debate. I think we can do it together. We can do both. We can choose both options. And that is a good thing. You know, I don't know if you guys work this way. Sometimes people tell me, do you want A, B, or C? And my answer typically is, I want all of them. Or I want actually something that's not even on the list. And that's okay. That is proof that you live, you know, to create outside of the limits. You don't have to be subjected to the current options. So, another icebreaker here. Who here thinks that humans will eventually be out-created by AI? And this is an honest question. And I'm not judging you, sir. Not at all. I'm kidding. You know, is it possible? Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think so. Do I think that eventually the amount of information that's out there, that's put out there by humans, could create massive data sets that you know, AI can leverage and replicate a like human, you know, mind? But I do think that even then, humans, we just live by different rules, right? And we do think differently than machines in that sense. So I do think it needs us. But I would love to hear your thoughts. So maybe when I'm asking questions, give me your thoughts. So prepare a great answer. So there's no judgment, okay? But thank you for that one. So, you know, kind of wrapping things up, and I am speeding through this. Forgive me. We're a little bit behind schedule, but this is a great discussion. And of course, I'm happy to talk after the fact as well. Can machines truly replace human creativity? And you, sir, over there, the one that we're not judging, he says yes. Do we think that it can replace us? No, we know it can't replace us. Can it reshape us? Absolutely. You know, you've seen some of these robots. They're quite attractive robots, you know, and then you see them peel it back. Has anybody here seen those videos or seen, you know, been at conferences? And you have these like extremely good looking robots, and both male and female, by the way. And then you peel it back and it's a full-blown machine, right? So can it reshape us? Yes. Can it replace us? Maybe. Like if you're going through a phase, like a bad boy robot phase, maybe, you know. But at the end of the day, you do want a human. And then so, you know, can it enhance us? Yeah, it's already enhancing us. We know this. These tools are going to continue to enhance us. Can it threaten us? Absolutely. That's your choice. I think any scenario in life can either be, you know, there's a normal cycle, right? You get a little bit, you don't like it, you reject it, then you start engaging with it, and eventually you accept it and embrace it. And when you embrace it, that looks differently to everybody. Some people embrace it one way and others embrace it, you know, differently, and that's okay. It's okay to find the way that it works with you. Can we all agree that AI is powerful, but creativity isn't a formula? We know that. It's not. It's a fingerprint. And we have that fingerprint. And it comes different depending on the society that you're from, the perspective you have, and what your objective is in your personal life. And I think this is the fun part. Your imagination is the limit. AI is just your assistant. And it is just your assistant. Now, if you tell your assistant, talk to me however you want, you know, talk back, do this, do that, then you know what? You've created your assistant. And you know, it might give it those prompts. So I do think there's that ethical side of it, things still, you know, and I know we're working very aggressively to create that. And there's more and more regulation around that and more different, you know, limits. And not healthy limits, let's put that, right? We even have those in relationships with humans. We tell people, these are my boundaries, respect them. We need that also with AI, right? That part. But it is our assistant, and we can make it help us be better. So that is the end. Thank you very much.